Q&A. So it's up to you guys. All ready? Yeah? Well, then we start with Poland. Julia, Natalia, Jakob, welcome. Please share and go ahead.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Julia, this is Natalia and Jakub, and with help of our supervisor, Professor Monika Żubrowska-Sudoł, we made our project Biocommunity, which we're happy to present to you now. At first, we would like to show you a short video about our project. And now we would like to elaborate further on the project and show you some highlights.
As we mentioned in the video, digestate is a precious product of fermentation because it contains various minerals and macroelements. By using it as a fertilizer, we can give back to the soil from which the plants got their nutrients first. When it comes to life cycle assessment, our energy production generates CO2 that in time is fully absorbed into the environment. We do not release additional CO2 into atmosphere, so we can assume that our net CO2 emissions are equal to zero. Rest of our carbon footprint originates from construction, transporting substrates, as well as biomass extraction and demolishing or modernization of the plant in the future. However, there is another important factor in operation of biogas plant. We are aware of the methane leakage problem that happens in biogas plants. It is necessary to seek new engineering solutions to reduce it. However, we want to point out that the methane emission isn't a choice here. We don't plan on using any food resources, only waste. So if not for the biogas plant, this substrate would likely be landfilled, and this is a huge emission problem.
One of the most important aspects of energy transformation is the energy storage. Proposal for amending Renewable Energy Directive states directly that mobile storage systems should be concerned as a valuable element of storage services market. This way, we can support local energy production by, for example, storing solar energy during the day and then using it at night. But we don't need to limit ourselves to just mobile energy storage. The batteries are used in vehicles only until they have around 80% of capacity, and then they become a problematic waste. We would use them as an energy storage for the community to fully use its potential.
After national finals of BISC-E, we had some opportunities to consult our project with people directly connected with biogas industries in Poland. As we mentioned in the video, we think it's crucial to adapt the project to each community. We've already seen the importance of communication during this survey, which we performed during the summer. Both the survey and discussion in the meantime gave us crucial information about how to adjust our project to this community and some hints why such initiatives aren't so popular in Polish villages now. As we can see, we had a lot of conclusion from the survey, but we would like to highlight only a few of them. More than half of survey respondents are concerned about problems connected to climate changes and fossil fuels dependency. 77% of survey respondents found our project useful on the area of their living. Some interlocutors were skeptical about renewable energy sources like solar panels and about electric vehicles. Most of them were very aware of potential trapped in waste biomass. The most common solution mentioned was composting and throwing waste on arable lands. And as we can see from our project, this is not the best option.
After considering technical and environmental aspects, we found our strengths and opportunities and listed weaknesses and threats. Despite regulations and investment costs, regional and EU support for biogas incentives, as well as stable energy production, put us in favor of the entire idea. And later, we performed financial analysis by establishing cost structure and revenue streams and estimated return on investment in 6 to 8 years. We, as a bio-community team, take role in the process as a consulting agent, sharing our knowledge, experience, and managing certain parts of the investment in order to create a functioning organism with established and working connections between its many parts. If you imagine a spark lighting a fire, we aim to help create such communities not only here in Poland, but also abroad.
Okay, as we would like to implement bio-community as wide as possible, we can't just do it by ourselves. In the nearest future, we want to expand our knowledge on technical, law, and social aspects of energy cooperatives. Our next steps will be training of new bio-community consultants. We believe that our project can move locals to get the knowledge from us, which leads to creating a niche in the labor market.
We are grateful for the opportunity to be here. Over the last few weeks, our project was constantly developing, and we are amazed by the fact that something reachable and quite simple can be so efficient. And what is especially exciting, it all started with bio-based innovation. But with time and adding following elements that all stem from the biogas energy community, we've witnessed the creation of bio-based transformation.
Thank you so much for your attention, and now we are waiting for your questions.
Well, thank you. You still had a bit of time. Members of the jury, the floor is open for questions. Yep, Maurizio.
Okay, thanks. Good morning. My name is Maurizio, and I'm one of the members of the jury. Thanks for a nice presentation, and thank you for your idea that goes, if I can say, beyond playing in the laboratory, and it is proposing something that is on another dimension. So this is something I appreciated. I have a few questions. I will start maybe with one, and then I will leave the floor to my colleagues, members of the jury, for their own, so you don't get bored of me. And the first question I have is, I would like to ask you if you can clarify what is your business model and your value proposition. Why should anybody pay for your product or service? And how are you going to generate revenues? Because I am not sure that I have understood that completely from your presentation. Thank you.
Maybe we can like show a slide when where there is everything yeah, stated. But okay, in the meantime, okay, so why anybody would pay us for this work? We, as we planned and as we calculated, this project has many yeah has many opportunities to
Okay, I will maybe I will help you. About our project, the thing that about the financing of this project is standing that in the whole investment in biogas plant, paying for consultation isn't a very big part of the costs. And we believe that, you know, when someone is willing to, because we are not the people that will invest in the biogas plant, we would like to have this much of money, but we don't have. But we believe that the investors would like to mention us as a crucial part of the business model of whole biogas plant, whole energy cooperative. So we calculated revenues, yeah, for the community, for the energy cooperative, from selling energy, excess energy. And we thought mainly about revenues for the community, not for us, but we of course mentioned our work as a project consultants here in business model. I hope we answered the question, or we can clarify it more.
I think you did answer. I will let my colleagues go through a round of questions first, and I elaborate a bit on your answer now in my head. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for the team for a really, really solid presentation and also presenting a really, let's say, a topical solution about addressing a decentralized energy system and maybe how to get there. And there I was my question revolves around that. As I understand, we would not be talking here about one energy plant as such, but this would be a spread system. And here that my question would be, how do you envision how many hectares of farmland would be needed to support, for example, the business case of what you are, or the figures that you are presenting here, or is this kind of a high level number?
Okay, so we did some model village when we were calculating all of the things you saw here. We had it in our last presentation. I don't know if we have time to get back to this, but we took the wasting straw from my area of living, and it was I don't know if in hectares, but it was about, maybe we can find it because I can't.
I guess overall it depends on the substrate, yeah, because
Yes.
1 hectare of something isn't equal to anything else. So as one of Polish professors said, like every
Polish
borough, yeah, this is like I don't know, gmina. Okay, has a potential to create something like this. So the substrate is really, it is really enough of it for maybe not every village, but every few villages, and that should do the work.
Okay, I can say that for our calculation that you can see here, we got about 17,000 tons of straw from cereal and meadows, and we know from the data that this is wasting straw. Then we took about 9 tons of chicken droppings, because in this area there is a lot of chicken farms, and more over 3,000 tons of mushroom farms waste, because this is another industrial source of bio waste.
Yes.
So we do this all, you know, on the data. Yeah.
I think let's say my first of all, thank you. It's clear that you have done your homework very well. I kind of envision this as you said, as a cooperative structure. So it is all about bringing not only the hectares together and combining, but bringing the people together. So I think there is as previously Maurizio described, this is at a higher level and or at a high level, and it's also about bringing the people together and or the farmers together and giving a motivation. So good work. Thank you. I'll let the other people ask.
Thank you very much.
Great, Tito. Ed, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Ed Jong from Avantium. Couple of questions regarding basically the biogas plant. I mean, have you already been in contact with industry who is making those? And I mean, I think in relation to that, I think the 4.5 million as say the cost for the plant seems to me rather small. So how is that founded? And the last thing is really also about the community. Yeah, I mean, who is raising the money? I mean, I still think a kind of chicken and egg there. I mean, how you get this started? And last but not least, how do you see it also in your own role in relation to regulations and permits and all those kind of things? Because I think that is also, at least in certain countries, quite an issue.
Maybe I will answer the first question, that the cost estimates were taken from the Union of Polish biomethane producers. They told us from the data that actual functioning biogas plants in Poland, that about 20 million zloty, this roughly equates to 4.5 to 5 million euros per megawatt of energy of the investment costs to build a plant are needed to construct it. So that's where we took our estimates from. And when it
So like, this is just a small plant, so that is why the cost. Yeah, and what was
the next question was about how we get. Can you maybe
finances?
Finances,
yeah. So as we mentioned in the video, we were looking for subsidies from EU and also Poland, and there are subsidies, for example, like you have half of the money. And the other half you need to give back, but in a few years. So people at first don't really need really high resources, really much money, because we can use those subsidies.
And besides the subsidies, we said that we would like to connect not only waste from specific households, but from the industry too. So we believe that industry part is the main investors here. Like we said about the chicken farms or mushroom farms or any other that occurs in rural areas.
Yeah, and the final question.
Regulations. How do we envision ourselves in the regulations?
Okay. Yeah. So, for example, like we all study bioeconomy or
environmental engineering.
Yeah, engineering. Yeah. So, and to me, for example, I work as an auditor in ESG. So, like in everyday work, I just use those, and we think that with a little more studying, we can really like get the knowledge, because it's not really that much as it can seem.
Yeah, but there, of course, we know that.
Okay, guys. I stopped
Sorry.
you here because Estelle raised her hand also, and I want her to ask a question.
Yeah. Sorry, it's indeed the time is flying, but thank you for the presentation. I indeed like the fact that you're taking the whole value chain, so farmers, but also people living to build your business case. Indeed, it's still a bit complicated for me to understand and to differentiate the egg and the chicken on who's paying and what exactly. So my question would be quite frank, how farmers would be compensated? Because from my understanding, you will use a lot of their waste. So will you pay them, or will they need to pay you?
They will get energy.
Yeah, it's like it's an energy community, so the farmers are creating it. It's not like we buy something from them, it's everything is theirs.
Yeah.
But it is important to know that in actual Polish regulations, we cannot simply get the waste for free. We have envisioned that we will have to pay the farmers for buyback of their waste. I believe it is mentioned in the financial analysis, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, the farmers will be paid, and the energy that we'll get when it comes to our calculations will be much cheaper than the conventional coal energy that is currently supplied in Poland.
Okay, thank you. Time is up. One
Thank you so
remark
much.
from the chairman. You called it waste again. Don't do that. it's a side stream or a
It's a
restaurant. We
research,
never deal
yes,
with
of
waste. We are
course.
not in the waste business. Sorry about that. Thanks, guys from Poland.
Thank
We
you so
move to
much.
the next, which is Belgium, Vesicle. Shani, are you there? You are there. Live and kicking. Please take the floor.
Everybody can see my screen.
Yes, you're good. Start.
Then we would like to start by a short clip of our concept. Every spring, farmers from around the world have to cope with freezing temperatures, which cause devastating yield losses to apples, pears, berries, and grapes. On average, 28% of the overall harvest is lost, with outliers as high as 90%. This accounts for 62.5 billion euros worth of yield losses globally every year. Right now, in fruit cultivations, there are only a few ways the problem of spring frost can be mitigated, with fire pans being the most widely used. However, these are not very efficient, they are very labor intensive, not cheap, and they emit a significant amount of CO2. In Belgium alone, fire pans 75 kilotons of CO2 into the atmosphere a year.
Team V-Cycle found a natural and sustainable solution to protect fruit blossoms. We have developed novel anti-freeze proteins with improved properties. These can be sprayed on fruit blossoms to prevent the formation of ice crystals, resulting in higher yields. Anti-freeze proteins bind minuscule ice crystals, preventing more water molecules from binding, thus growth. Unlike other anti-freeze compounds like glycol, toxic, biodegradable, and retain their function at €1,000 per acre per year, compared to multiple thousands of euros for fire pans. No extra initial capital investment is needed, because the anti-freeze proteins can be sprayed with the same machinery that is used to spray pesticides. Spraying is also a lot less labor intensive than maintaining fire pans.
V-Cycle would love to engineer a brighter future for fruit farmers
with higher yields and less sleepless nights.
Yeah, let's get started. We are Team V-Cycle, Shani and me, Jill, and we are a complementary and enthusiastic team of bioscience engineers aiming to improve the world of agriculture using biotechnology. We're from Ghent University, and V-Cycle's research is focused on two types of proteins. On the one side, we have the ice-binding proteins, and on the other side, we have the anti-freeze proteins. The anti-freeze proteins help to prevent the formation of ice crystals, whereas the ice nucleation proteins catalyze ice formation. In the next slide, you will see a video of those ice nucleation proteins, where we made them in E. coli and we added to supercooled water, and what you see is immediately ice formation. But for our target group, the farmers, we will focus today on the other side, on the anti-freeze proteins, which prevent the formation of ice crystals. Those anti-freeze proteins can be found in nature, such as fish living in very cold environments, and they help the cells to keep the cells whole. So they protect the cells from damage from the sharp ice crystals. In the same way, we could use those antifreeze proteins on blossoms to prevent them from damage. What actually happens is there is a minuscule ice crystal where the antifreeze proteins bind on, and this prevents the ice crystals to grow larger and to form very sharp spikes. Because chances are very high that blossoms will not turn into fruit anymore when there is ice formation. So it's important to invest in the early stages to keep yield in the end. By using the antifreeze proteins, we can lower the temperature where the freezing starts, even to temperatures to -8 degrees. So nowadays, around 28% of all apples, pears, berries, and grapes are lost each year due to frost. These are very high value and frost-sensitive products, so it's important to protect them. And as end users of our antifreeze sprayable product, we are targeting the farmers and the large agricultural companies such as green yards. And we have already talked to a lot of interested companies, stakeholders such as fruits excellence centers, for example, Ilvo, PC Fruit, and also the farmers are very interested in this solution as well. Today, around 62.5 billion euros of fruit is lost each year due to frost damage. So if we translate this opportunity into market numbers, we consider our total addressable market as the value of all fruits that otherwise would be lost due to frost damage. In the first year, we would like to focus on the Belgian market, which has already a revenue potential of around 300 million euros. And when we focus on the early adopters, we are around 7 million euros. So practically, how would we generate this revenue? V-Cycle would sell proteins through direct sales to wholesalers, where farmers also buy their plant protection products in large quantities.
Based on some assumptions, we estimate that the use of our antifreeze-based agent to protect blossoms against frost would cost around 1,000 euros per acre per year, taking into account the production of our proteins, the amount that needs to be sprayed on the field, and the average number of spring frost days in the past few decades. If we compare
Johnny is frozen, please take over.
Other techniques such as sprinkler systems or air cannons have a lower yearly cost of multiple hundreds of euros, but require a large capital investment for the initial installation, which can come to multiple tens of thousands of euros. So
Johnny, please switch off your camera. The sound is rusty, so please switch off your camera, it might improve.
Do you hear me clearly right now?
Yep, go ahead.
So I was saying if only a fourth of the apples that is normally lost due to frost damage can be saved by spraying antifreeze proteins, the extra yield would more than offset the cost of the antifreeze proteins for the farmers. As just mentioned, right now in fruit cultivations, there are a few ways the problem of spring frost is mitigated, such as sprinkler systems, warm air cannons, and fire pans. While some of these techniques are effective at reducing yield losses, such as the sprinkler systems, they do come at a cost of high installation, as well as downsides, such as the need for constant water sprinkling, runoff, and an increase in pseudo growth afterwards. Techniques such as warm air cannons, fire pots, and wind machines are a bit less effective and also not cheap, but they are often used as there is no alternative for the farmers to protect their blossoms against spring frost. And so, as said in the video, yearly 275 kilotons of CO2 is released due to the burning of carbon fuels to protect the fruit blossoms, which we can mitigate by replacing the current techniques, which is mainly the fire pans. So now, what is V-Cycle's unique selling point compared to the competition? Using computational biology and bioinformatics, we can design new proteins in silico with improved functions. These can subsequently be produced in microbial cell factories, such as Pichia pastoris, which allows for easier scale-up later on. And once the product is ready, it can be sprayed on fruit blossoms to avoid frost damage. And in the last step of our product optimization cycle, the real-world data obtained from testing the products in the field can be integrated into our computational workflow and thus improve both the next generation of proteins and their formulations. Additionally, because the anti-freeze proteins can be sprayed with the same machinery as is used to spray pesticides, there's no extra capital investment that has to be made compared to conventional methods. Additionally, our anti-freeze proteins, spraying them is also a lot less labor intensive compared to having to place fire pans around the orchard. Becoming a big member would greatly benefit V-Cycle, as it would allow us to connect both to academic institutions and, even more importantly, to industry players. Additionally, V-Cycle has already collaborated and connected with some of BISC members, such as Ghent University, Ilvo, Flanders Food, and the Biobase Europe pilot plant. Lastly, anti-freeze proteins also have potential outside of agricultural applications, such as in the storage of frozen food, keeping airplanes ice-free, cosmetics, and much more, hinting at the overall economic and societal benefits of a broader development and use of both the anti-freeze as well as the ice nucleation proteins. So this is V-Cycle, and thanks to our anti-freeze proteins, farmers can count sheep tonight and not frost-damaged crops. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Joni and the team. Questions? Your jury members. Ed, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. Very interesting. Couple of things. You claim that the product is safe. Huh? I mean, what kind of test did you do already, and did you already look into regulation in that respect? I mean, what needs to be passed before you can bring actually this kind of product on the market?
Yes, we haven't done any safety tests ourselves, but we have based our reasoning on the fact that anti-freeze proteins have already had a food safety application for the use of anti-freeze proteins in ice cream to protect their quality. Additionally, there is no scientific research indicating any health problems with anti-freeze proteins. And for the regulation part, we have consulted PhytoWeb and our own government to see how a product like this would be regulated. And we have come to the conclusion, based on their arguments, that it would be regulated as a biostimulant, which means it wouldn't be regulated under the same laws as a PPP.
Okay, but I mean, you also indicate that you want to use genetically modified proteins, and I think then probably you are in a completely different ballpark, yes?
Yeah, as far as I understand, it is not. It is inhibited from using GMOs, but by using the Pichia pastoris, we are able to excrete the proteins and filter them off. So we have only the protein part, which is similar to companies like Biotalis. I don't know if you're aware of them. They are a company in Belgium, also developing proteins for to fight pests, and they are doing similar things.
Okay, thank you. I think probably we have to move on to the next member.
Yeah, Tero.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the smooth presentation and tackling a very important topic. The yield loss percentages were very impressive. So if there's a solution that I bet people are interested. I would actually ask about the current solutions in antifreeze for antifreeze. For example, you mentioned in the ice cream industry. How do you see that? Has that been tested, and has the concept been proven through, for example, using such available chemistry to mitigate the problem?
Yes, we have found patents of Unilever where they use the antifreeze protein in their ice cream. As far as we know, they are using it in their ice cream commercially as well. But because Unilever is mainly focused on foods, we assumed that they wouldn't really go into the market of producing antifreeze proteins for frost protection. On top of that, the antifreeze proteins we are producing are optimized for their maximum temperature. They would allow the liquid supercooled water to remain liquid, which is not the case for the antifreeze proteins of Unilever, where there is more a component of recrystallization they want to avoid.
Okay, then maybe a follow-up question on general level. How does this protein degrade after spraying? I mean, if you have many frost nights in the fall time or in the spring, or now it's springtime is relevant for this case. So what happens to the protein after it has been like after a week or after a month? Are there any issues that you would identify already now?
Yeah, so we take the part of protein degradation or protein stability into our computational framework to optimize them both for antifreeze properties and stability. But our calculations of the 1,000 euros per acre per year is based on spraying the proteins once before every frost night. So they won't be staying on there for a month because, yeah, as many of you know, the chances of them working after a month are basically non-existent.
And do the proteins break down somehow, or what happens to them in a year?
In a year, yeah, because they are natural amino acid links, they will be broken down by any organisms in the vicinity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the good presentation.
Thank you for the questions.
Maybe also the sunlight has an effect. They're out there in the open, you know, so.
Yeah, we are currently working on different formulations, both for stability and application on the plants as well.
Mauricio, go ahead.
Yes, thanks. I would also like to thank you for something I really actually never thought about. And myself, of course, yeah, I cannot think about everything, but this was very new and interesting to me. I would like to elaborate on numbers with you, if possible, because, you know, I can see this figure of 1,000 euros per hectare, and I immediately felt the urge to find a number on how many kilos of apples are produced in 1 hectare to see how it compare with that. But if I have to ask a specific question, I would like you to elaborate on your calculations on the size of the market you are going to conquer. And what are those numbers? What is that market? I remember a slide of yours with concentric circles. Can you please elaborate on those numbers? Because I don't understand them.
That was the timestamp sum slide.
Chili micro. Your mic is.
Yeah, to answer your question on the Tansam sum, we looked at what is lost yearly. If we look at the 28% that is lost on average. And there we found that globally every year 62.5 billion euros worth of yield losses. And then we looked also at the European and a more like smaller scale, Belgium. But that's the yield loss. So that's what actually is lost on average every year. So I think that clearly shows that it's important to invest in it. And when you are asking at what is the yield of an average acre, I think
No,
it's
I'm not
around
asking that question. I don't expect you to.
50,000
Don't worry.
kilograms. So it's a lot.
It's between 10 and 20,000 kilos.
Yeah.
No, but I didn't want to ask that specific question to you. I did not expect you to reply to that. It was more really about your cost estimations.
We are actually still working on the cost estimation as well, because now we are estimated for 1,000 euros per acre per year, but it's based on a lot of assumptions, as we did not produce it in real life. So we are looking for efficiency of production, the microorganisms we are working with, how efficient are they, what do they need for food, and how is it all working, what is the concentration that we have to apply, how many times do we have to apply it, and this is just a rough estimation based on other microorganisms that produce proteins as well.
Okay, thank you. That was my clock. So we're done. Thank you very much. Now I have to see how to bloody stop it. Yeah, no.
Thank you.
It worked. Thank you, Jill. Okay, next up is Lithuania with VM Loop. Maria, are you there? Both of you are there. Very good. Hi, Victoria.
So
Please take the floor.
Share the screen. Can you see the slides? Okay, great.
You're good.
Okay, so this is not a new image for any of us, but the question remains, when is enough enough? How many more tons of any waste do we need to generate before we realize there's a need for sustainable solutions?
The life cycle of plastic can be narrowed down to 3 words: take, make, waste. This isn't just a sequence, it's a cycle that we're currently trapped in. Just consider this: 50% of plastic we produce is for one-time use, destined for landfill, or worse, our oceans, where 10 million tons accumulate yearly.
Clearly, our planet is becoming a dumping ground, and even though approximately 23,000 tons of plastic waste from 3D printing by 2030 seems quite small, it's actually just like the plastic straw issue. It's a minor part, but it has a big impact and needs our attention.
And this is where we come in. We are VM Loop, and thinking of a solution, we came around with a question. Can we turn discarded remnants of nature into building blocks of innovation?
And the answer is yes. That's why we present to you Hue filament, a filament made from herbal extract waste for 3D printing. We have a question. Is Hue for you?
Absolutely. You don't need to pick quality over environment anymore, because Hue offers both without sacrificing strength or durability. Plus, our filament is universal. It fits any FDM printer, making it one-size-fits-all solution.
We all know that the 3D printing has become quite popular from the last few years, and it's widely used in various sectors. And with Hue being versatile, it can be used to from packaging, from 3D printing farms to packaging industry, and in the future straight into the healthcare too.
Our process research chain starts off with the agriculture industry, where they produce their primary raw material and provide them to the main industries. And once these industries use their raw material to make their product, they have their byproduct, otherwise known as waste. So we take their waste, and with the additional natural polymers,
we manufacture a filament, and then of course we have distribution and sales, the usage of our filament, and once our filament reaches its end of life stage, we facilitate the collection and the sorting process in order to assure that our product's components
are properly recovered and prepared to be effectively reintroduced into a raw material supply chain. So this ensures a closed loop known as, of course, circular economy, where the goal is to continually circulate our materials within our system so we can minimize our need for virgin resources and also reduce residual waste generation.
The 3D market is on the rise, reaching $16.75 billion in 2022 and expected to grow at 23.3% CAGR until 2030. And keeping this in mind, there's also the issue of the main raw material, which is plastic, also known as ABS filament. In 2021, reached $9.86 billion in total trades.
So now let's talk about the big players in 3D printing. We already mentioned ABS, which is a very common filament, but we also have PLA. Now, many believe that PLA is the cheaper, greener option, but the reality is actually quite different. Companies often sell PLA at lower prices, sacrificing profit to meet this consumer expectation. But it's actually crucial to know that PLA is not the eco-hero we all think it is. While it is marketed as biodegradable, it actually requires industrial composting, which means that basically in a landfill, if thrown out in the wild, it will behave just like a regular plastic.
Here we have their prices for 1 kg, but we also need to take into consideration the additional costs that these markets have due to waste management, recycling, sorting, and industrial plant for special decomposting.
Now, while we might find cheaper options like the PLA and ABS, the real cost saving comes in the long run for filament. Not only it is sustainable, but it significantly reduces the waste management costs thanks to the circular economy approach. And also our product is already aligned with the upcoming EU regulations. So not only you're going to save money, but you're also going to future-proof your operations.
Our initial capital investment is approximately 63,000 euros. To reach our break-even point, we need to sell approximately 5,600 units within the first year. That's our baseline for regaining cost. With a return on investment of 115.39%, we position to regain our initial 63,000 euros investment in just about a year. This sets the stage for a strong profitability in the years that follow. Additionally, the projected revenue for the year is approximately 300,000 euros and a net profit of around 72,000 euros.
And now on to the advantages of our filament. First and foremost, we have the classic 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. So starting from next year, the European Union will begin implementing more stringent sustainability laws. Companies, they're mandated to shift towards sustainable alternatives with full adherence needed by 2028. So our product not only aligns with the EU's action plan for circular economy and also their Green Deal, but it also addresses the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 8, 9, 12, 13, and 17. So our goal is to meet and exceed to, of course, upcoming global standards.
Reduce carbon footprint. Circular economy strategies can cut global greenhouse emissions by 40% by 2050. Cost effectiveness. Waste material can cut manufacturing costs. Positive brand image, committed to eco-conscious, responsible production, entirely made in Lithuania, guarantee quality, transparency, and trust.
And finally, we also have contributions to biodiversity, reduced land use for new raw materials, saving land and helping preserve natural habitats. So we started our journey by diving deep into both primary and secondary research. We directly engage with companies to gather insights on consumer tastes, industry trends, and the competitive environment. It's also where we got to meet Philalab, which is a company that manufactures 3D printing filaments, and we got to have a hands-on experience by visiting the lab where we observed the details of 3D printing filament production.
We also collaborate with Ecopolymeras, a key player in development of eco-friendly polymers. Their insights have been invaluable in shaping our own sustainable filament product. Švenčionių Vaistažolės has agreed to be our supplier for waste material, turning their byproducts into the raw resources we need for eco-friendly filament.
And Sorry. And also through the Green Experiment Conference, we gained valuable insights into circular economy strategies, industrial transformations, and environmental sustainability in business. And we also took business courses on social media marketing and e-commerce, which was offered by L'Oréal through Coursera, along with additional training from Facebook and Google.
Incubation program, a unique opportunity that helped us develop our business model and receive guidance from mentors and investors, academic research. From this month, we started testing and developing our filament properties.
And grant money. Actually, we recently received a grant from Baltic Sandbox Ventures, and we will be beginning doing research with the EMA-approved 3D printer for future healthcare prospects too, and we'll be using our grant to fund our equipment.
Intellectual property, the only one we haven't done yet, but our goal is to lock down our unique ideas legally within the first year, and our target is to sell our filament to Prusa, one of the largest filament producers, sellers in Europe.
And well, I am Victoria.
And I'm Maria, and we are pharmacy students.
Feel free to reach out with any questions or interests. Our contact information is on the screen. So that's all for now. And if you want to know more about our filament hue, feel free to scan the QR code.
We're reporting live from Lithuania, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. That was great. Floor is open for questions. Please stop sharing. That's much nicer.
Sorry. There.
Zero kicks off.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Great topic, and shows that you've done great footwork in discussing with, let's say, the raw material supplier or feedstock supplier, but also then towards the end of the value chain. Comment and then following a couple of questions. The new material business is super hard because very often the reality is that you need to perform as well as the current solutions, but on top of that you need to be cheaper. So which is makes the life a little bit challenging. But I would like to ask about the performance. You were giving, let's say, saying that this would be comparable in properties with PLA and ABS. Have you measured it somehow, or have you done tests? Can you comment on or elaborate on that point a little bit more? And also from the perspective of, let's say, first thought was that, hey, how does this tackle the moisture?
So we have done, we're beginning to do our research with our filament, but we had visited Filalab, as we've mentioned, and they produce 3D printing filaments. And there we got to experience where they produce the PLA, but also with natural polymers. So we got to see that the filament that we're trying to produce when we ask questions for them, it would work just as the PLA, because we'll be using natural polymers. That would be, for instance, the thermoplastic starch, which would have the same properties as a plastic, but would be natural. So it would be biodegradable and sustainable.
Okay, thank you. Maybe then, if I may add on that, you described the capital expenditure of 60,000 euros something. You don't get much steel for that. So what do you what kind of equipment are you and pre-processing are you doing to make the filament?
Point 63,000 is not a lot in a business from a business perspective, but to start our business we would need an extruder, a granulator, and a dryer machine. So it's only main three machines that would be adding the cost. Of course, as you gain profits, you can invest in more machineries, which allow you to produce more products, sell more, make more profits. But for the beginning, it's better to start with only a few few machineries for each to start off the business. And when we visit Filalab, we actually saw that they once they use only one machinery, so there's no need to buy one type of machine at once to begin your business.
That's good. Thank you.
Thanks, Tero. Mauricio?
Yes, thanks. Thanks for a nice presentation and very lively and captivating. I can see you have put effort in that, and I'm happy to see that. And then my question is, so you have clearly mentioned that you have a plan to protect your invention and your innovation next year.
Yes.
So then the question I have regarding your material and your technology is, because you have not told us what it is made of. So is it because you don't know it or you don't want to say it?
We don't want to say it due to the IP reasons. And also we started our research. So due to that, we would prefer not to mention it for now.
Yes, that's clear. Then I have an entirely different question. At some point, you showed us a comprehensive approach to let's call it management of side products. And at some point, you also say that you will promote facilitate collection.
Yes.
How are you going to do that?
Well,
how are you going to facilitate collection?
Through the partnerships with the companies that we're going to sell, which we mentioned would be the Prusa, the biggest one. Once they produce their products, then we would, by partnership with them, hopefully, we would get the product back once it's, the final end of.
And it's easier to regain the product because it'll be from B2B, from businesses to businesses. So it'll be easier to collect from a company their waste than instead of going to people's houses, because that will be very complex.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I will leave the floor to my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Mauricio. Estelle, please come in.
Thank you for the presentation. It was really great and a really professional way also of presenting. It was really entertaining. Just a quick question on then your target market, either the B2B or B2C. How do you see it? What's the challenge that you foresee? And yeah, what's your plan on that?
Well, our plan is to do B2B at first. We would start from business to business, and would be specifically to the biggest, companies that they produce either 3D printing filaments and, of course, 3D printing farms, as we've mentioned in the beginning of our presentation. So we would be selling our filament to them. And in the future, maybe, hopefully, also for the healthcare, that's more into the research side still, because it's a big and complex sector. But I think that would be business to business. Do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay, so maybe just to add on to that, so why do you stop at the filament and not at the granule?
We thought about producing granules as our side business, but not our main goal when we started this project was always 3D printing. But when we got doing research and everything, we discovered we can also sell granules, which would be cheaper to sell granules than filament, because you would not need an extra machinery plus labor costs, which will decrease the price. And with the granules, you can make many products, like any object that's molded into like plastic shapes of balls. A lot of companies are moving towards that side, like L'Oreal and some other companies. And we were thinking to sell our granules, but we first want to focus on the end point of a filament. But it's also in our plans to have it in our business model, because it'll gain more money for the business.
Thanks.
Okay, Ed, it's yours.
Yes, thank you again also for the presentation. I have a question regarding the costing. I mean, you say, of course, for PLA 15 to 40 euros per kilogram, but that is certainly not the cost of PLA. I mean, PLA is actually one of the cheapest produced biopolymers. I think probably around 4 euros or something like that to make PLA. So how are you comparing to that? And also, I think also explain a bit better why your material is preferable above PLA in applications? Huh?
PLA, with the cost we include in our presentation, is the cost that the consumer buys from online websites, because €4 for a kg, that's the price when you buy from straight from the industry to make another product. But people who use 3D like filament, they pay a higher price, not because PLA granules are cheaper, but the filament will be more expensive. That's why we wrote between €15 to 40. And our filament is, of course, slightly more on the expensive side, around €30. But in the long run, we presume people will save money. And in the future, maybe with collaborations and people buying the product, we could decrease the price of the product. But from the starting point, we cannot have cheaper than PLA, as it's not possible at this current moment.
Exactly, and to say that our product will be better than PLA, it's basically based on the fact that, of course, it's sustainable, and PLA is sold with the idea that it's biodegradable and it's the eco-friendly version for 3D printing, but it's actually not that simple, because even companies, they're trying to move away from PLA to more sustainable solutions, because they saw that it actually behaves just like plastic once it's thrown out into the wild. So once actually we were also with Philalab, they said that they were looking for companies that they sell their filament to. They were trying to find greener solutions. So that's, well, where our filament comes in. And about the strength and durability, we believe, as we have already mentioned, that it will act just as a plastic. So it will be same. It will act just as the same. So it wouldn't be an issue regarding to the usage of our filament when comparing to PLA or ABS, for instance.
And about the cost, I would like to add, when we talked with Philalab, the manager told us that PLA, actually the price of it, when it's sold to consumers, it's actually sold at a lower price and to lower profit, because everyone in the market presumes PLA is very cheap, but it's not for free either. So a lot of manufacturers actually slightly decrease their profits to keep the price low with their competitors. That's what the Philalab do themselves too. So we presume that with our product, the company itself will also have higher profits. We're not cutting down on profits nor labor costs to keep the price low.
Okay, you heard the bell. Thank you for your answers and questions. We will now have a short break and start again at 10:40 sharp. It's a biostop and vitamin K opportunity for the jury and all the students.
Great. See you soon.
Thanks, bye.
Hi, Claire, please put your camera off. Thank you. I see your team. I see Claudia and Mariana and Pietro, I think.
Good morning.
Yes. Hello.
Okay, it's 10:40, so I suggest we start. Please share your screen and go ahead.
Okay.
Yep, you're good. Start.
Thank you. Good morning. The aim of our project is the eco-friendly production of oil alcohol from waste cooking oil. We are an heterogeneous PhD students group formed by the team leader Claudia, Marianna, me, and supervisor Antonio Biondo. In Apulia, a beautiful region of Italy, we love to fry anything. However, behind this rich and flavorful gastronomic tradition, there's an issue that increasingly comes to the forefront, the production of waste cooking oils. Unfortunately, our environment is experiencing the negative impact of this excessive used oil, with consequences for public health and environmental sustainability. Waste cooking oils are a great example of waste mixture to be used as a raw material for industrial production. The annual production in Europe is about 4 million tons of waste cooking oils, while only 792 kilotons are collected. Waste cooking oils are considered renewable resources as they contain a mixture of triglycerides with a composition that depends on the origin of waste, as household sector, catering and hotels, and food industry. Our approach is based on the use of waste cooking oils as free fatty acid source, in particular oleic acid, which we use to produce oil alcohol. Thanks to its properties, oil alcohol is particularly used in a variety of cosmetic preparation as an emollient, super fatty agent, emulsion stabilizer, and pigment suspending agent. Nowadays, oil alcohol is obtained by catalytic hydrogenation from the corresponding fatty acid. It requires high temperature and pressure with a significant risk of fires, And furthermore, the hydrogen solubility in the feed is relatively limited and the catalyst is solid. What is the innovation that we propose? A one-pot biocatalytic cascade reaction. This cascade offers the advantage of combining multiple enzymatic steps in a single reaction vessel, the reduction of the need for purification steps, and the reduction of the hazard of commercial processes hydration condition.
Version of waste cooking oil into allyl alcohol involves several technical aspects that are crucial to the process. Once obtained, waste cooking oil must undergo a series of pretreatments that ensure the quality of the feedstock. This step typically involves the removal of solid particles, water, and free fatty acids. Afterward, it is necessary to select the enzyme that will take part in the process. That consists of three main reactions during which waste cooking oil is converted into oleic acid, then oleic aldehyde, and finally oleic alcohol. Lipase from Candida rugosa is chosen as the catalyst of the first reaction. Carboxylic acid reductase from Mycobacterium marinum and phosphopantetenyl transferase from Bacillus subtilis are used to reduce carboxylic acid to aldehydes. Then E. coli aldehyde reducing enzymes are used to produce the oleic alcohol. The first reaction is the hydrolysis of triglycerides present in the waste cooking oil, catalyzed by lipase from Candida rugosa, that are easily available at low cost. This reaction takes place at 37 degrees, pH 7.2, and for 1 hour, so basic condition. Then we have two enzymatic reductions. For the first one, gene encoding carboxylic acid reductase and phosphopantetenyl transferase, that is essential for the maximal activity of carboxylic acid reductase, are inserted in E. coli with two different plasmids. This reaction is NADPH and ATP dependent, but it is not a problem because whole cells are used for the process, and therefore these compounds are already in the reaction environment. In the second reaction, oleic aldehyde is converted into oleic alcohol thanks to E. coli that is known to have a large set of enzymes that exhibit aldehyde reducing activity. After the enzymatic conversion, the mixture obtained contains yes oleic alcohol, but also unreacted substrate, residual lipase, and byproducts. So we need the purification. Separation of the fatty alcohol is promoted by immobilization system of the catalyst, which allow their reuse. Purification of oleic alcohol can take place by distillation, and finally, quality control measures are employed to ensure the desired characteristic of the final product. So now we have oleic alcohol ready for its industrial application.
Our business case provides a structured framework for evaluating the feasibility, benefits, and project potential value. Oleic alcohol is used in the cosmetic industry for its various properties and function. Here are some common cosmetic products such as lipstick, classic shampoo, or coloring, which contain our products. Today, oleic alcohol is mainly produced by Croda, a well-known global chemical company. Croda's oleic alcohol is produced through the traditional and expensive hydrogenation reaction of plants-derived fatty acids, such as oleic acid. In our project, we offer this important product through a bio-based process, starting from a waste, in contrast to our competitor Croda. Then we explored the cost of oleic alcohol, which can vary depending on several factors, including the degree of purity. As you can see, higher degrees of purity can command a higher price due to the additional processing and quality control involved. Our idea is to develop a biocatalytic process that starts from an available and easily collected waste cooking oil, whose market cost is around $155 per ton. A preliminary analysis of the cost and profits was possible thanks to the Scalar software and the other bibliographic research. We estimated the product produced is around 3,300 megatons, and the construction cost is around $81 million. Our preliminary analysis for the industrial scale bioreactor process shows a promising opportunity for generating substantial profits, between 91% to 95%. In conclusion, in this work, we have provided an important alternative to the classical process of oleal alcohol production, following these important criteria: waste reduction, renewable resource, the development of circular economy, and more. Thank you for your attention, and now we want to show you our video, which summarizes our idea. Thank you.
I don't see the video.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
One moment, please.
We share the Windows video. Sorry. This.
Now the video has no sound, is that correct?
Sorry. We try again, the last one.
Well, there's 1 minute left and the video is 2.5 minutes, so it's up to you guys.
Maybe if you just put the captions on and let it run without sound. I think that will serve just fine.
We try, but
sorry, we have
a problem.
But no worry.
You want to skip it?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yes, okay.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry.
Okay, then we open the floor for questions. Go ahead,
Case, and if the team, if you insist, I can put it up as a backup, but if it's not needed, we'll skip it.
Well, it's going down from the Q&A time, so it's up to the team.
What do you want, team?
Time is up. So.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
Q&A.
Questions. Ed, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for your interesting presentation. First question is related to use of waste cooking oil versus using virgin olive oil. What are the deltas in price you estimate, and what are the advantages or disadvantages of waste cooking oil in relation to containing inhibitors for the enzymes, etc. So, I mean, how much purification do you think you need to really make this feedstock as suitable as virgin oil would be?
Yes, we use waste cooking oil because we don't want to destroy the food value in this case in our work. The main substrate of our reaction is the oleic acid, but in the waste cooking oil, in the European waste cooking oils, there is a lot of oleic acid. In percent, we have about 50% of oleic acid in the waste cooking oils, and the conversion of our reaction is about 80%. So we have a good raw material to start.
In addition, our substrate is an already regenerate feedstock, so it's ready for the use.
Yeah, okay. I mean, but of course, there's a big competition for companies like Neste, who really wants to have all the waste cooking oil in Europe. Yeah, so I mean, it is not really like that. It is that you can find it at. Okay, but let's go to the next question, I think.
In Europe, only a little fraction of waste cooking oils are collected in really. So with our project, we want to
create a new product, oleil alcohol, which is used in more cosmetic products. So certainly waste cooking oil is now already used, but we focus on oleil alcohol product. So this.
Okay, Tiro.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Really nice to see a well thought out presentation, really highlighting what you are here doing. I had a question on, let's say, the process yield. I think you mentioned something about 80% and kind of like the one pot or one reactor size you were describing, it was 600 some cubic meters. So how big reactors is the 600 cubic meters reactor? That what makes you break even. You also need a distillation stage at the end. Yeah, can you a little bit describe how the facility would look like in your view?
Okay, we want to use this data thanks to our research in bibliography and thanks to our interaction with other fermentation process. So we decided to mention this data, so this working volume, this percent of product and more. So for this reason, we took this.
Okay, great. Then following question, maybe touching a little bit on Ed's question or building on it. How robust is the process? Is any type of cooking oils suitable, or are some cooking oils more suitable than others? Talking about sunflower or rapeseed or olive oil.
Yeah, we consider in particular the waste cooking oil that is produced in our region. In this way, we have chosen the product. So the best substrate that we can use is our waste cooking oil, so olive oil. But maybe this process is good also for other types of used oil.
Okay, thank you.
Estelle, please go ahead. You're still muted.
Yeah. Thank you for the presentation. It was really interesting. And on technical level, it's really something that touched my heart because of the scale-up data that you put there. I liked also the fact that you mentioned pre-treatment because that's something that also is costly and sometimes also challenging on the sustainability part of it. I had two questions, but the first one I would say is, why did you choose 24-hour batch? It's the value that you have, it's the bibliography literature that you have, or can you maybe think about a continuous way of your process?
So, according to the hours, we decided to mention the 24 hours because we tried our reaction in small scale, in large scale. So, it is the mostly reason.
Is the good for a good conversion? Is the best for a good conversion?
Yes.
24 hours.
Okay, and why not longer then?
We think that much more hours are more expensive in a large scale process.
And also because the enzymes have product inhibitions.
Yes.
In this way, we must to distillate the products to continue the reactions.
Okay, thanks.
Maurizio still or no? Ed again. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe if Maurizio has a question. At what cost, production cost, are you going to sell the oleal alcohol? I mean, that's not completely clear for me.
The cost of oleal alcohol depends by the purity. So we see the oleal alcohol sell in more website, and we estimated this cost. You can see in our presentation. 200 reported. 124 kilograms for our reaction. Per
dollar
per
kilograms.
And you think that Croda is also selling it for that price?
We don't know. We don't know in this case.
Yeah, just a small remark. I think this kind of sigma numbers, I mean, they are not the most reliable to base your cost estimates on. Yes, I mean, this is really small scale, very high purity, etc. And I mean, so you have to dive deeper into the real kind of to have an idea of what is the real competitive price compared to the incumbent.
Okay. Well, that concludes it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank members. We move to the final team, which is France. Are you all there? Are you ready?
Yes. Hello.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello,
Then,
we're all here. Yes.
please start sharing. Fernanda, Nordana, Anastasia, and Aiganin.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. Sorry, I clicked wrong. Go back to. I think it is. Can you see?
Yes, you're good. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
So amazing. Good morning, everyone. I'm Anastasia. This is Fernanda, Nordana, and Aiganim on the second screen. And we're thrilled to present you BioAroma.
The smell of roses. We all love it, right? That's why we find it in so many products, like perfumes, soaps, body lotions, laundry detergents, and even in food products, like candies, gums, jellies, and wine. But have you ever asked yourself, what gives the rose its pleasant smell? One of the main compounds responsible for that is 2-phenylethanol, shortly named 2-PE. This compound is traditionally produced by extraction from roses, but because of its huge demand, humanity has also found a way to chemically synthesize it. The problem is that neither of these processes are sustainable. In fact, 8 tons of rose petals are necessary to produce only 1 kilogram of 2-PE. while its chemical synthesis uses hazardous organic solvents and produces toxic byproducts. Considering all of this, we, BioAroma, propose an innovative and sustainable solution to produce a natural 2PE suitable for food applications. We developed a novel biotechnological process that exploits the ability of a non-GMO yeast strain to naturally produce this compound. And there's more to it. We use a byproduct from the food industry as a substrate for fermentation, lowering production costs and stimulating a circular bioeconomy. Our process is economically viable, and we can offer our clients from the flavoring industry a very competitive price. On top of that, we are addressing the current environmental issues of the flour extraction method, achieving 1,000 times lower greenhouse gas emissions and land use. Therefore, we produce 2PE using only renewable biological resources, ensuring a green, sustainable process and enabling its application in food products. We are BioAroma, reimagining waste and rewriting fragrance sustainability.
Now we'll talk about process in more detail concerning technological, financial, environmental, and also business aspects of our process. Have you seen, our technology exploits the natural ability of yeast to produce 2PE via microbial fermentation. We use non-GMO yeast strain, Cleveromyces marxianus, which is commonly used in other industrial biotechnological processes and is considered to be a food safe. In our process, we also utilize agro-industrial waste, such as apple pomace. Apple pomace is a byproduct of cider and juice industries and is highly abundant and rich in sugars. Globally, about 7 million tons of apple pomace is produced annually. However, only a small percentage of this waste is being utilized, mainly as animal fat, which is a low added value application. Also in our process, we utilize green solvent, oil alcohol, which is biocompatible and can be produced from raw materials to extract 2PE from our fermentation broth. Currently, our technology is at the technical level 4, and it was validated at the laboratory scale. We proved high yields and productivity, and with this data, we move to our next step.
So, after our work performed in the lab, we also performed a process simulation of a biorefinery at industrial scale to produce 185 tons of 2PE per year, which corresponds to around 2% of the global market output of 2PE. So in this process simulation done with the SuperPro Designer software, we simulated all of the processes, all of the industrial equipment necessary from the raw material preparation up to the purification of 2PE with high purity for commercialization. And with this simulation, we can estimate the specific consumption of raw materials and energy per kilogram of 2PE produced, for instance, as you can see here on the right side of the screen. And this type of data of the mass and energy balances of our process also allows us to estimate the operational costs and capital costs, as we can size all of the equipment for this plant. Before I go into the economic analysis, we would also like to mention that we are investigating other improvements for higher circularity in our process. So for instance, the CO2 and the wastewater from the fermentation, we want to apply them. So the CO2 can be applied in beverages, for example, via carbon capture. The wastewater can be treated and reused in our process. And we have also explored the pomace yeast and meal, the residual biomass from the fermentation, as a feed for livestock. And we also want to incorporate the production of bioenergy for energy self-sufficient biorefinery. So now talking about the economic analysis, this biorefinery of 185 tons per year has a good profitability. We estimated a capital investment of $136 million and a unit production cost of $245 per kilogram. This way, if we set a selling price of $350 per kilogram, which is highly competitive with the flour extraction, which ranges from $300 to $1,000 per kilogram, then we can achieve a net present value of $73 million at the end of the project of 20 years.
and with an internal rate of return of 14%. This way, we confirm that our process is economically viable and highly competitive with the flour extraction method.
Yeah. And in order to evaluate the environmental performance of our 2-phenyl ethanol production process, we've performed a life cycle assessment based on simulation results of an industrial scale biorefinery. We used a functional unit of 1 kilogram of 2-phenyl ethanol and system boundary cradle to gate using OpenLCA software and Agripolis database. We've compared our environmental impacts to those caused by roses cultivation, which are reported in an LCA study of a Dutch greenhouse published in 2019. It was evident that extraction from roses is more polluting compared to our proposed method. This is because that was in rose a very low amount. So in order to produce 1 kilogram of 2-phenyl ethanol, 8 tons of rose petals are necessary. For example, we've identified that land use and greenhouse gas emissions of our proposed processes are more than 1,000 times lower. And on top of that, even though it's still preliminary study, it's evident that there's a very big difference between the impacts of both processes. Therefore, we can assure that microbial fermentation is a more sustainable method for 2-phenyl ethanol production. Moving to the next slide, we would like to focus on the market validation. And it's important to mention that our business model is business to business, and our target customers are food formulation companies in the EU that would use our 2-phenyl ethanol as an intermediate molecule for those formulations. We've performed a customer discovery of the important stakeholders from the fragrances and flavor sectors, and those companies have demonstrated a very high interest in natural 2PE with lower cost and better environmental performance compared to 2PE sourced from.
In general, we can say that our solution has multiple competitive advantages compared to the flour extraction method. First of all, even though the initial investments would be higher in our process due to the novelty of fermentation method utilization for 2PE production, we can assure, for example, that our process would have a much higher, a much better competitive price compared to the flour extraction method of $350 per kilogram of 2PE, compared to the range of $300 to $1,000 per kilogram of 2PE derived from the flour extraction method. We can also guarantee a lower environmental impact, which can be seen in the difference in CO2 emissions as well as land use of both processes. Since our process is not season dependent, it guarantees the price stability, which is not the case for flour extraction. And we also use the bio-based solvent. We have a flexible raw material reliability due to utilization of apple pomace, and we contribute to circularity in the form of waste valorization. Our final product can be used in food applications and cosmetics. In conclusion, we, BioAroma, propose an innovative and sustainable solution to produce a natural 2PE suitable for food applications. Our process is economically viable and has a competitive price compared to the flour extraction methods due to the use of byproducts of food industry, apple pomace, for cultivating the non-GMO yeast that can produce this 2PE naturally. So this way we can guarantee lower production costs and we can contribute to circular bioeconomy. We are BioAroma, reimagining waste and rewriting fragrance sustainability. Thank you for your attention and feel free to ask any questions.
Thank you very much. Please stop sharing, and then the floor is open for questioning. Who dares first? Maurizio.
Thank you, Kees, and thank you to BioAroma for a fragrant presentation. And I like, I mean, that's what I have been, bioconversions with cells and in particular yeast is what I have been doing a little, so I like it. And then I have, therefore, first I have a technical question. And the question is this yeast strain doing the compound, the 2-phenyl ethanol, because you feed it with apple pomace, or it would do it anyways?
In our case, we use L-phenylalanine, an amino acid, which is precursor for this pathway. 2-phenylethanol is produced by a biochemical pathway also known as L-drift pathway. And to switch yeast to this pathway, we need to add L-phenylalanine. And to get this amino acid, we can either purchase it from manufacturers, which is a bit expensive and also it's not considered natural. Or in our case, we can use it, we can buy it bio-based, which is produced from peas. So
pea powder.
And pea powder, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Then I have another question. One of the arguments you have used in favor of using apple pomace is that it is lowering the production cost. Have you modeled that? I mean, in your because I mean, I'm very happy you use the Super Pro Designer software. It's an advanced software for your modeling. That's very good. If I did that, I would certainly run a simulation using apple pomace compared to another one using, for example, molasses. And sometimes I do that, and sometimes, unfortunately, traditional sugars are actually cheaper than using waste material. What is the result of your simulation, if you did it?
Yes, so for now, we haven't done a simulation with sugars purchased in high purity. We only did with the apple pomace, but indeed, this is something that is in our plans because we want to have exactly this comparison. And we are also doing the simulation with another waste that we have already tested in the lab, which is whey. So in the end, we want to have this comparison of purchasing glucose or maybe molasses as well, but we haven't tested molasses. But for sure, glucose as a defined medium versus apple pomace and whey as well.
And there's another problem of the business aspect because, as we said before, we target specifically food industries, and we talked to the representative of IFF and Kerry, and one of the main criteria is 100% bio-based process, which will not be possible if we purchase already prepared glucose medium, which is why one of the key points was using the apple pomace and in general food waste.
Yeah, I mean, for the sake of truth, I have to disagree with this statement because I still think you can carry out a very nice 100% bio-based production if you use, for example, molasses or sucrose or whatever sugar, cheap sugar that you have. But of course, I mean, you can look into that and you will probably find out yourself due to the models you already have available. I will leave the word to my colleagues now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mauricio. One of the four others. Louise, I haven't heard you all day. He's still here, but... Okay. Estelle, Ed, Tero? Tero goes. Good.
Yeah, I can go ahead. So first of all, thank you. Thank you for the great work. You've done a lot of work and delivered a very well-rounded presentation. I especially like in this concept that you're going after a very niche, very high-value product, which is always good to have to see that. I want to touch something you said that this production process or your concept is not season dependent compared to roses, but cider production is somewhat season dependent. But maybe that's so can you comment on the season dependency, why it's not the case? And maybe the follow-up question to that would be on the raw material preparation side. You dry mill, store, and then mix again with water before sterilization. So why is that, and doesn't that have kind of a negative cost implication?
Aiga, would you like to answer or us?
Yeah, I would like to start regarding the season independence. Is that it's true that apples are like mainly the main season for the harvest is end of summer and begin like during the autumn. Our advantage is that we will collect all the pomace from the cideries and we will dry it. So it will not be season dependent because we will have a stock of our apple pomace. And the reason why we would like to dry it and convert it into powder is to avoid the bacterial contamination, because if we leave apple pomace in its raw way, it will start to ferment by itself, so it will not be usable. That's why, in order to avoid this kind of complications, we would like to turn it into powder. So that's the main reason, and maybe girls, you can continue further regarding the costs and stuff.
Yes, another point to add to that is that we have already tested whey also as a substrate for fermentation, and we have gotten very good results as well. And so our process is not dependent on only one type of raw material. We could actually have a flexibility in choosing raw materials for our process, and that is another reason why we don't have a season-dependent process. And on the topic of energy consumption for pre-processing this apple pomace, we also want to investigate in our simulation that a part of the apple pomace is used still wet. So in this case, we wouldn't have to dry and mill it before using all of the apple pomace that we need, but only a part of it. So this can translate into some energy and cost savings for our process.
Okay. If I may continue quickly on the feedstock availability, taking now your concept is the apple pomace. Can your need be covered by one cider producer or apple juice producer, or do you need to, how much pomace do you actually need? And can you give some reference to, is it a lot or not a lot?
Our specific consumption is 48 kilograms of apple pomace per kilogram of 2PE that we produce. You want to continue on the talk about the client, the suppliers?
Yes. So if we would like to scale up, so for now it's 48 kilograms for the 1 kilogram of 2-phenyl ethanol. And if we would like to scale up, of course, we would start to look like for more cideries. But for now, there's one cidery that we talked with, actually located in Netherlands and not far from the Wageningen University. So their production for the beginning covers our needs, but in future it's possible to scale up because we're also located in France, and in the northern France, in the Normandy region, there are lots of cideries which actually don't valorize their waste. So there is a huge demand from the cideries who don't know what to do with their pomace. So it will not be a big problem, and yeah, everyone is actually looking for the ways to valorize it.
Great, thank you so much.
Ed?
Yeah, maybe thank you for your presentation. Enjoyed it. Question, I mean, maybe I missed it, but I mean, the phenylalanine is basically the precursor for the PE, yes? Yeah. So do you add that separately to your fermentation broths, or is that a component of your feedstock?
In our feedstock, we can find some L-phenylalanine, but the quantity is not enough to actually stimulate the production of 2PE. So we add it separately to stimulate the switch to needed pathway.
So where is that coming from, and how sustainable is that?
As we discussed, you can buy it either from chemical manufacturers. It's cheaper in some parts, but it's not considered bio-based. So we are not using this type of L-phenylalanine. We're using L-phenylalanine that is produced from pea powder, which is considered bio-based and more sustainable option.
So bio-based amino acids usage.
Okay, that was the time. I'm very eager to learn where the cidery in the Netherlands is, but that's totally new for me.
Elegast cidery, if you have ever heard Elegast. Yeah.
Elegast. I'll check that one out. Thank you so much. Okay, jury members, we go to the other meeting and you all have to wait for half an hour. See you in half an hour.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you. Goodbye.
Yes, so to all the student teams, the jury will log off here and they will go into a separate meeting. You are free to stay on and keep the lines open. You can do whatever you want. You can go out for a run or have a sleep in 15 minutes and then come back. But in about half an hour, we will be back with you and all the jury members. Okay. See you in a minute. Hello, everybody. If you're still there, I see we have 15 people online. So some of you must have left. Do you all hear me? Because the jury is finalized their deliberation and they will join us in a couple of minutes. So if you are still there. Thank you, Claire.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, Nello.
Okay.
I have sent you the version of your email, if you can.
Yeah. Luis, the jury has finished. I'll get in touch with you hereafter, okay? Because there was apparently
I have sent my score. I have sent my score to you too.
Oh, okay. To whom? To Case? This is okay. Okay, fine. This is done. The jury will join us now in a minute. So, all right. Thank you, Luis.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're waiting for Case to join. There he is.
There
Poker
he is.
case.
Are you waiting for me?
Yes,
Oh
but
my
that's
God.
okay. Over to you.
It's ahead of time. Are the
Yeah, I
students
know.
all there?
Everybody's there, and Luis also is there.
Okay.
But go ahead.
I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive.
You are still alive. That's good to know. Well, if everybody could put their camera on.
Yes.
I
Please.
want to start with something that was not discussed.
Yeah.
Everybody, camera on. Everybody. Because what I would ask the jury members is to have a good look at all of your faces. Because what we're doing here is basically celebrating the next generation in bio-based. And some of them, give them a good look. Some of them might end up as your boss. So that's the good thing of today, right? I want to thank you all for that. That's all. I want a warm applause from the jury members to all of you, because you are the top 5.
Yes.
Ed is not interested. Okay, too bad. So having said all that, we'll give you remarks, not the improvement points. That was the boring part from the previous jury, but from this one. Starting in the order of appearance, Poland, that was a really high bar that you raised here in what you would like to do. And we specifically like the citizen part and the citizen involvement. Job well done. Belgium, a very, very high impact as compared to the state of the art in the way we treat it right now. Probably a very big impact. The first thing I would do actually is take a train to Torino. No, the other. What was the city again, Mauricio, that I said? It's
in
the
Piedmont, in the northwest.
Yeah, Veneto area. That's slowly evolving as the orchid of Europe, and that's 800 meters above sea level, which means less insects, which means less crop protection agents. Once again, it's not called pesticides, it's crop protection agents. But if you're above 800 meters, you're probably going to have some frost as well. So well done. Lithuania, an innovative approach for the 3D printing market. Nice, really nice. Then Italy, thumbs up for a very detailed process modeling combined with experimental work. Really, really well done. And finally, France, totally thorough. Only 2 words, totally thorough. And a very solid case, sharp in your TRL positioning and already with customer context. Very good. So I'm not going to disclose the scores, but I'm going to announce the number 3, and then the number 1, number 2, and then the number 1. So you will all be staying in this meeting, that's for sure. Number 3, Italy. Yes, we go again. Number 2 is Belgium. Job well done. Very good. And the number 1 is France. Great team. And I like to stress that from all these juries, all of them said number 1 is France. So that's very unique and a very job well done. 1, 2, and 3 will go to Brussels. It is, I think, Nano, on the 5th to present for the larger big audience, and that's where you will get the prize. So quite sure that you will all go there, and Nilo will talk to you later on how to get there, what to do, where it is, and so forth and so forth. Great job. I think that's it for now, Nelo. The word is back to you.
Okay, First of all, thank you all teams, students. You went through the pain, well, I should say the joy to show us that you have entrepreneurial talents, and this is what we're after. This is what we, BISC and the whole bio-based community, we're after. We need more entrepreneurs in the bio-based sector. So you show that you have talents, and we expect a lot of you in the years to come. So thank all of you. Then also thank you, Kees, and all the jury members, Ed, Estelle, Maurizio, Tero, Luis. I truly enjoyed your very active, very interactive way of asking and receiving and reacting again on the answers given. This is what the students are looking for, and the movement that we are going with BISC is to bring this final round again back to a physical event. This is really what we would like to do, but we will continue to improve gradually on the process, but I'm already very, very happy with the way it has been going. So congratulations again to Italy, Belgium, and France. I will get in touch with you 3 teams directly after the meeting to discuss the details of your trip to Brussels. Okay? All right. Thank you very much. And for me, this is it. Thank you. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Congratulations to everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
You.